This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, and especially at the moment, I do hope you're well. Just another blethering kind of video for you today, where I'm talking about compilation albums that should have but never were released. Basically, this all goes back to, I guess, the early 2000s when I got my first MP3 player, which had a massive 128 megabytes worth of storage on it. So with that kind of amount of storage, you've got to be quite choosy about what music you put on. You can't allow any just filler material on there. You've got to make sure every track is a gem. And that's when I started putting, I guess what would today be called a playlist together, or playlists. I still think of them as just as compilation albums. So I've already done in this series an Eric Clapton video about, what is frankly the best of his career. So today we're going to do Dire Straits, and let's get cracking with the first one.
Sultans of Swing.
Indeed, Sultans of Swing. I'm guessing for most of us this was probably the first Dire Straits song we ever heard. It was our introduction to the band, and it's very easy to kind of take it for granted these days, but, when you think about what else was around at the time, I guess this was 79, was it? So we're starting in terms of guitar-driven music to get the new wave of British heavy metal bands, Saxon, Iron Maiden, UFO, all of that crew. Disco was still kind of hanging on by its fingernails, and you were getting like the kind of the back end of punk and the new wave sort of stuff. And then along comes this gritty sounding little blues rock band with a singer who sounds, kind of part J.J. Cale, part Bob Dylan. Superb guitar playing with a clean Strat tone, that wasn't something that you were hearing a lot of. And it was unique, and the song was a story about, walking into a pub and seeing a poorly attended jazz gig with an audience of young lads who were ignoring the band on stage, and it paints a picture and tells a story, and that is something that we will keep coming back to in this little video today about Mark Knopfler's ability to do that with his lyrics. Fantastic song, got me hooked on the band, and probably most other people who consider themselves fans as well. So that's that one. What's next?
Down to the Waterline.
Yes, indeed. Side 1, track 1 of Dire Straits' first album. And that does kind of date you a little bit when you refer to albums as having sides, indeed. Great song. Not much more to say about this. It opens up with a very smoky sounding signature Strat sound from Knopfler. You hear foghorns from ships in the background, and then the band kick in with that trademark early Dire Straits kind of sound, all kind of driving rhythms and funky out of phase Strat sounds. Great lyrics again. Great song. Easily as good a song, I think, as Sultans of Swing, and I think it would have made as big a single had that been the one that was released from the album. So let's see what's next.
Wild West End.
Yeah, this one is something of a trait that Mark Knopfler has, where he'll kind of mix up, US and British metaphors. So you get like Wild West and West End kind of conflated into one kind of thing. And it's kind of a biographical song about his experiences as a young man when he's moved away from home in the northeast and gone down to live in London. And for me, this song has particular memories. I used to live in the Lake District in England back in the 80s as a student, and there would be days when I didn't have to go into college because there were no lectures or whatever. And maybe I was trying to avoid the landlady because I didn't have the rent, so I would go out on long walks along the fells. and usually accompanied with a Walkman and a bunch of Dire Straits cassettes. And yeah, as soon as I hear this song, I tend to always kind of think about tramping up Loughrig Fell or, Striding Edge or any of those kind of places. And yeah, it just brings back a lot of happy memories, which is why it's in this list. So let's see what's next.
Lady Writer.
Yep. Now, this song was from their second album, Communicate, and even though I'm a big Dire Straits fan, I have to say that perhaps this was, subject to that difficult second album syndrome that a lot of bands succumb to. I think this was also around about the time that the relationship between Mark and David Knopfler was breaking down, so it wasn't necessarily a good time personally for Mark Knopfler as he was, involved in the making of this album. This is really the only track from this album that I would say warrants a place on a best of Dire Straits, but it is one of the best songs they ever did. It's just that, the rest of the album didn't really kind of quite raise to this standard. Great song, single, I think it came out from the album, and again, lots of happy memories for me. Great guitar playing, just Dire Straits doing what Dire Straits do in the best way that they do it. So that's why this one's here. Let's have a look, see what's next.
Romeo and Juliet.
Right, Romeo and Juliet. Now, what can I tell you about this? Well, it's just a fantastic song. That's why it's here. A lot of these songs are, they just tickle that funny bone that you might have, and you can't really explain why you like something, you just do. But what I like about this is, well, first of all, is that intro on the National Steel guitar, which is just beautiful, isn't it? It's just so evocative. Again, strong storytelling, beg your pardon, in the lyrics here. It's just documenting a breakup. It kind of sums up that pain of a relationship that is no more, but it manages to do it without ever becoming overly sentimental and mawkish and, kind of slushy and syrupy. It's, it sums it up in a great way, and it's just, I've been through relationship breakups in the past, I'm sure we all have, and this is one of those songs that you kind of turn to, isn't it? It's when you have your Bridget Jones moment. So yeah, that's why this one's here. Great song. Again, like all of these songs, lots of happy memories for me, and yeah, let's see what's next.
Telegraph Road. Okay,
we're into the big guns now. Telegraph Road. This is just an absolute epic song. It's the opening track from Love Over Gold, and it's just a story, once again, set to music of how, a guy wandering down a track builds himself a little shack to live in, and, from there grows a town, and, then there was hard times, then there was a war. It's just like the story of a civilization set to music. A fantastic song. I mean, immense guitar solos, plural, on this. You never get the sense that, even though it's a 14-minute song, you never ever get the sense that it's ever too long. It's just a completely immersive, fantastic song. I absolutely adore it. What's next?
Industrial Disease.
Okay, this is a bit of a sleeper track from Love Over Gold. It's one that often is overlooked, and I just genuinely think it's one of the best things they ever did. Basically, Mark and the lads having a bit of fun. It's a satirical, tongue-in-cheek comment on the state of the British industry and British economy in the late 70s and early 80s, which wasn't a fun time, it has to be said, 3 million unemployed and all of that. It sets in quite stark relief the rest of the album. This is a very happy, upbeat, funny song. I mean, there's a couple of belly laughs in this song. Well, what certainly was the first time I heard it. And the rest of the album, Love Over Gold, is quite a dark sounding album, brilliantly so. But this just provides a nice counterweight to it, and I think it belongs in any best of Dire Straits compilation. So that's why I've mentioned it. Next.
It Never Rains.
Okay, I was talking about Love Over Gold being quite a dark album, and it doesn't get any darker than this track. It starts off with just an innocent-sounding little keyboard intro that's quite happy and tuneful and melodic, and it just by the time it finishes on that, there's a huge, dissonant, angry guitar solo, as, you know, on the fade out, and you just wonder, how did we get here? You know, it's just from those sort of quiet, melodic, happy-sounding beginnings, and it just, wow, it just sucks you in. And the lyrics on this, I mean, I've been talking about Mark's storytelling and his narrative capabilities on a few of these tracks, but this is just poetic. And, you know, there's a line in this song where he goes, "And it's a sad reminder when your organ grinder has to come to you for the rent." I don't have a clue what that means, but even just saying it out loud like I did there, the hairs on my arms are standing on end. You know, I don't know why that line elicits that reaction from me, but it just does. And, you know, I suppose that's the power of poetry. I don't know. I just like that line of lyrics, and I like the song, and yeah, that's why it's here. Next.
Tunnel of Love, live.
Okay, the live version of Tunnel of Love. Now, this song for me, the first time I heard it, I think it was the live version that I heard. Yeah, just the way that he's talking on the intro to the song, just kind of talking to the audience about, you know, his childhood in the Northeast, and the lyrics to the song that mention Whitley Bay and the Spanish City, which is a fairground in Whitley Bay, a resort town in the northeast of England. These are all places that I knew from my childhood, so, you know, it sort of resonated with me a bit. And it's just a brilliant live rendition of the song. The whole band are on form. Alchemy, the live album, is kind of unique. Well, not unique, but unusual, let's say, in a lot of rock live albums, in that there is no studio retouching of that album whatsoever. What you hear on the album is what the audience in the venue heard that night. And you can tell that the band are uber well rehearsed. I mean, they are tight, really, really together, and playing at the top of their game. And I think the outro solo from this live version of this song is probably, if not the best, certainly one of the best solos that Mark Knopfler has ever played, and that's why it's here. Next.
Two Young Lovers, live.
Yes, indeed, Two Young Lovers, again from the Alchemy album, the live album. This was originally released on the Twisting by the Pool EP that came out a little bit before the Alchemy live album. And again, it's just a fun little rock and roll pastiche. Mark has a habit of returning to this kind of slightly tongue-in-cheek rock and roll stuff from time to time, and he's never done it better than on this track, I think, especially this version of this song. Again, there's a story there about the two young lovers. Fantastic sax work from Mel Collins, who, you know, previously King Crimson, and a great guitar solo as well, not by Mark Knopfler, but by Hal Lindes, who was the rhythm guitarist in the band at the time. He got allowed to kind of run off the leash and step into the limelight for a solo on that track, and what a good job he made of it. Yeah, great song, and that's why it's here. Next.
Going Home, theme from Local Hero.
Okay, so I'm cheating a little bit on this one. This isn't really a Dire Straits song, but they did perform it on the Alchemy live album, and that's the version that, you know, I think we all know, really. I mean, it's just such a strong melody, isn't it? It's just the kind of melody that any composer would be proud of, regardless of whether they were a guitar player in a rock and roll band or, you know, in inverted commas, a serious composer who, you know, like, I don't know, name a serious composer. But you know what I mean? It's just one of the great melodies, I think. And again, brilliantly performed here by the band. The best version of this, or my favourite version of it, isn't really available, you know, to listen to. It's probably up on YouTube, but it's a version from the Brothers in Arms tour. They did a gig, and I don't know where it was, what venue it was at. Might have been Wembley Arena, actually, when I think about it. And it was on TV in the 80s, basically, and Hank Marvin comes out and duets with Mark on this song, and it's just a fantastic version. Again, the Alchemy version is great. Again, the band at the top of their game, really tightly rehearsed, and do an absolutely barnstorming version of it. And, you know, there's the atmosphere there with the audience and everything. Great version of a great tune, and that's why it's here. So let's see what the final choice is.
Brothers in Arms.
What else? Yes, of course, it had to be this one, didn't it? An absolute brilliant song, really. Such a gorgeous guitar tone to start off with. Let's talk about that for a minute. A cranked up Les Paul dirty sound that he is absolutely coaxing and stroking and caressing the most gorgeous, heart-rending licks out of. It is just sublime. Then there's the lyrics, and what I like about the lyrics to this, again, he's in sort of storytelling mode here. What I love about the lyrics to this song, it's kind of a little bit the same as Romeo and Juliet, which is a song which is all about a breakup in, you know, a relationship, and he manages, as I said, you know, to write a song that does that expresses that without getting mawkish and sentimental and syrupy and slushy and schmaltzy at all. You know, this is an anti-war song that never becomes preachy, and it never becomes like a political rant, which so many anti-war songs do. And, you know, it's just told from a human perspective and, you know, just with great insight and great warmth. And it's a fantastic song, and I love it, which is why it's here. So there you go, Brothers in Arms, the final track in the my dozen best Dire Straits songs. Let me know what you think. What are your favourite Dire Straits songs? Assuming, of course, that you're a Dire Straits fan, which is kind of, I'm going to take that as a given because you're watching this video. Let me know what you think. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where, you know, songs I should have included and songs that I included that I shouldn't have done. And yeah, we can have a bit of back and forth about it. I'm sure this will be a topic of discussion on Friday for the live stream. Don't forget about that, by the way, 5 p.m. UK time. The live stream where we basically have a beer and a chat and a laugh, and we put the world right because it kind of needs it at the moment, doesn't it? And what else do I need to tell you about? Oh yes, the Fret Zealot giveaway. Couple of my courses, Play Lead Guitar the Easy Way and Making the Modes Easy, are available on the Fret Zealot app, and to celebrate, we're giving away a free Fret Zealot. To be in with a chance of winning, all you got to do is make a donation of £5 or more to Zoe's Place Baby Hospice, which is a charity that I've supported on this channel for ages now. Great charity that does lots of good work with young children who are very seriously ill, and let's try and raise a bit of money for them, shall we? Make your donation, the link is in the description. Screenshot your receipts, send it to me at the email address you can see on screen, which is also in the description, and you're entered into the draw. Simple as that. I'll be pulling a winner out of the hat on the 7th of May, and I'll kind of announce who the lucky person is that's won the Fret Zealot shortly after that. And don't worry if you don't win. If you still fancy getting the Fret Zealot, you can get one a little bit cheaper thanks to me. Just use the discount code you can see on screen there and make your purchase via the link in the description, and you'll get a little bit of money knocked off. You're welcome. And that is pretty much it for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the video, found it informative, maybe in some way, but hopefully entertaining. And if you have, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you haven't already done so, and give me a like while you're at it. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day. I'll say stay well, stay safe, above all, stay sane, and I'll see you all again next time around. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye for now.